Hi, Beau. This is Mac. I was wondering if you could answer a question for me.
Sure.
Okay, I am the biggest fan of Wynonna Earp. I started watching it right after season one started, and I have loved it ever since. And I've always, ever since I was little, collected comic books. I'm a huge comic book aficionado. I have just obscene amounts of DC, Marvel, a couple indigo and more independent ones, but mostly the big ones. But I'm working on branching out my collection. But
Great.
I love creative writing and comic books, and I consider myself to be an aspiring illustrator. And so I was wondering if you who is an aspiring comic book artist, it's one of my biggest dreams to be one day. What pieces of advice would you give them?
First off, whether it's writer or artist or both, never stop doing either one. Every day, do a little bit, even if it's 10 minutes. And I know that doesn't seem like much, but it makes a huge difference. Write every day, and don't, just because you like comic books and let's say you like movies as well or TV shows, don't take everything experience-wise from those. Read other books, nonfiction, fiction, anything, because most of the exposure you'll get from those will cause ideas for you to change into. It's like my love for the Old West. I thought, oh, this is great. Okay, how can I fit vampires, werewolves, and six guns into it? So that realistic idea gave me the spark I needed for the creativity part. And in school, to be honest with you, I took every creative writing class I possibly could. And again, some of them were kind of boring sometimes. But what I took from them was, how can I make this my own? Even though they want me to read Shakespeare or certain book on history, I always found a way on my own time to make that my own for it to make sense to me. And to be honest with you, I even did that as a kid in church sometimes. They would tell us, the Sunday school lesson or the sermon, and not that I was changing the Bible, which I wasn't, but I was adding to other things with it. And as a little kid, when I was growing up, creativity sometimes was stifled, because I always told teachers I want to be a comic book writer, comic book artist, and they would say, there's no money in that. You probably ought to try being a newspaper or magazine writer. Well, now there's not those restrictions. As I'm telling you, you can do anything you want, especially with technology. So there are no holds barred. Whatever you're interested in, there's ways of making that work and becoming a full-grown adult and making money from it as well.
All right, awesome, Bill. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Have a great day.
All right.
You too.
Next person. State your name, where you're from, and your question for Beau.
Hey, Beau.
Hey.
My name is Chrissy. I'm a teenager in Arkansas in the United States.
Hey, Chrissy.
And my question for you is, which character on the show has had the greatest impact on you personally?
I would have to say it would be Wynonna Earp, just for the fact that when I created Wynonna Earp in the comic books, and that was 1996, I always based her off my mother and my grandmother, probably two of the most independent, strong women I've ever known in my life. And I'll never forget in the auditions, Fano, who plays Wynonna Earp, held up the badge to the camera and said, "I'm Wynonna Earp, U.S. Marshal." Literally, not sounding like a cliche, chills went up my neck. So that probably is the character that has the biggest impact for me. For characters that I did not create in the comic books, which would be her sister Waverly, the Cole Hot, and even Doc Holliday, I would say it'd have to be Sheriff Randy Nedley, because there's a character that's close to my age that doesn't look that much different from me, and he's probably the oldest guy on the show, and it shows to me that, hey, old guy can hang out with the young guys and still fight crime and monsters. Everything's good. So I would have to say Randy Nedley is my second.
Thank you so much, Beau. Those are really good answers.
Well, thank you, Cushy. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right.
You stay out of trouble.
No such thing, Beau. No such thing.
Thank you, Beau.
You're welcome.
So far, this season or any season, what has been your favorite moment from the show?
Well, I'll tell you this about season 4. We're halfway, in right now, and we've got a few more to go. Some of the biggest surprises that you can imagine in a 4-year period are about to happen. That I can say. As far as the 4 years we've been on the air so far, call me sentimental, but season 1 is still, and probably always, even if we go 10, 15 years, season 1 will always be my favorite because it was a truly innocent time with the characters, with the storyline. You're getting to know everybody in the beginning, and it's something I'll always be able to look back fondly on because the characters and the storylines have changed so much. So much has been layered, and it's complicated now in a good way. So I would have to say season 1 will always be my favorite. And personally, the humorous moments are always the ones that I seem to enjoy the most. Doc Holliday, the first time he sat down in a modern day car, because you got to think he's 135 years old, had never seen a car till he came out of the well that he was banished in. And he's sitting in behind the seat of that car, and the windshield wipers are going back and forth, and he's looking at him like, what magic is this? The radio comes on a cell phone, a call comes in. What devil is that? He continues to call social media the Twitter or the Tweeter and the Facebook. So those kind of moments always mean a lot to me. So they're fun, and I think they've just begun to be explored.
No, I definitely remember that. I just, when you said it, I just started laughing. I'm like, I remember that scene so perfectly in my mind. I'm like, that was great. Yeah, all the funny moments.
Yeah.
There's so many. I think there's way too many to count.
Well, that's the point, Jillian. You bring up a good point. There are so many because, as everybody knows, I created Wynonna Earp in the comic book that has been published for over 20-some years. When sold the rights to television to do that, that's when the showrunner and writer, Emily Andress, took over. And I like to put it this way, and I've said it so many times that it's the best way of saying it. I gave her a loaf of bread, and she took that loaf of bread and made sandwiches for the world. Because with her smart, witty, quick way of thinking, she created so much from the little bit of whole cloth that I gave her and added to it. She created the character Nicole Hott, Waverly. She brought in Doc Holliday with his backstory, and just about everything that you see on there. She took my Bobo Del Rey villain and layered him so heavily you think, you're under 6 crazy quilts. So Emily Andress, the cast and the crew have done so much that it's hard to describe. They've been very gracious with what they have let me be a part of with the show, because basically contract-wise, all they have to do is send me a check. They have done more. I've been a part of it since the beginning, and they have been more than gracious to let a weirdo like me that talks like me into a party like that. And I keep waiting for the day I'm going to get tossed out. Someone's going to go, hey, who let this stump jumper in here? But that has not happened yet. So.
Hey, Beau, they should be sending me a check, too.
Oh, and by the end of it, they probably will.
Well, if I get a check from Sci-Fi, if I get a check from Sci-Fi, I'll be sure to thank you.
Oh, you'll be sure to share it with me. I got to tell you, I ask you guys right now. My camera, I think, went out. I don't know if you can see.
It's all right.
And I know what a sad thing is. That is there anything particular I should hit? I hate to be unprofessional, but should I touch something to make it come back?
No, you're fine. It's okay. We could still hear you. We still see you. And I love that beautiful beard. I don't know what lives in it, but I love that beautiful beard.
You don't want to. You don't trust me. You don't want to know what lives in here.
So I like to have fun. Okay, I do. I like to have fun. So what I like to do, Beau, is I like to play some music. And obviously, you might not be the dancing type, but you might be the singing type. And I picked a track that you probably know. It was very popular in the late 70s, and it's still very, very popular. And I would love for you to sing it with us, okay?
Hey, your punishment. Here we go.
Are you ready? Uh-huh.
Sure.
All right. Here we go, Speedy. Here we go. Play it. Speedy, do we have a problem over here? We have a problem. Play it over, Speedy, because our producer, by the way, he's been doing this for 3 years. Do you hear the music, Beau? Do you hear it? All right, pause it. Beau, do you hear the music?
No.
You didn't hear the music. That stinks, man. I'm trying.
No.
I'm trying because
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We're trying to get you to hear the music, but he probably can't hear it on the board. But that's all right. Well, so we can't sing it with him. Do you know "Sweet Caroline"?
By Neil Diamond.
That's right. So I will. You will follow me.
Sweet Caroline.
All right. So we're gonna play the music, and you're gonna.
I've got it. Yeah.
All right. So you're not gonna be able to hear the music, but you're gonna be able to sing it with me, and you just follow along. You know the words, okay? Here we go, Speedy. Play it from the beginning.
Okay.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun. Where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong. What in the spring?
Hello.
And spring became the summer.
And spring became the summer.
Who have believed you come along? Hands
touching hands,
reaching out, touching me, touching you. Come on, Beau! Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline.
My times never felt so good. So good, so good, so good. I'm inclined to believe that never would, but no. All right. We tried, Bob. We tried. I mean, we're not singing.
That was a first for me. I appreciate taking me out of my comfort zone and into a world that's scared to pee out of.
Well, if you hung out with me, I'd scare the hell out of you. That's for sure.
Somehow, I pictured me at 65